Dobre towarzyszy wieczorny. Good evening, comrades. Welcome. I'm doing a very special vlog right now because today is the day of the Polish Army. August 15th, 1920 is a very special day in Polish history where 98 years ago, during the Polish-Soviet War, or the other way around, excuse me, is when the Poles beat back the Soviets from Warsaw, their beloved capital. And I gotta tell you, this was an incredible battle, and I got some things to show you to represent today. First off, you see me wearing my Polska shirt that I got at the Broadway Market, my Polska hat, the same, and I got a few things here. Check this out. This right here was the tank that was used by the Poles, Ukrainians, Latvians, French, British, and Americans who fought in this war against the Soviets. This is the French Renault FT-17, or in American or English, Renault FT-17 light tank. This was crucial because if you look, introduced in 1917, this was the first tank in the world to have a fully rotational turret, armed with a 37mm gun. And these were used on both sides, so you can imagine both sides slugging it out with these tiny little things. And also used a lot during the battle was this. And in case you wonder, I do these models myself. This is a model of the Canon de 1895, which is the 1895 French 75mm cannon. It's one of the most famous guns in the world, especially from the First World War, because this was the only gun at the time that ever had a solving for what was known as recoil. Basically, it had springs in it that would fire, and this gun would stay in place, and they could fire several shots at a time at the same target. And during this battle, it was absolutely incredible, and I even have some Polish battle cries that I'm going to share with you. Things like Bóg honor ojina, which means God honor homeland. And also Naroga, which means at the enemy. Also do ataku, which means attack. And here are some of the even famous ones. Za Polskie, which means for Poland. If any of you have ever watched any World War II videos and ever seen the slogan Za Rodina, is Russian for the motherland. Also, you probably know, Polish language derives a lot from the Russian and German languages. Also, there's Bych Kasapa, which means beat the Ruski. I apologize for some of the Russians out there who may be watching this. And also, here is the most famous one, Hurrah! Which is the derivative of the Russian battle cry, Ura! So you can see how things fan out. Now, in appreciation for that day, I also made a few other models as well. This tiny little thing is the TKS Tankette, which was a two-man little tankette based off of the Carden-Loyd tankettes from the British that were given to the Polish after the interwar time. This is the TKS. The previous version is the TKD. This one is armed with a 20mm autocannon, or cannon, whichever way you want to say it. Because during the time of the Polish invasion, things that were used like this were very decisive in the battle, even though they lost. And the most famous one, by the name of Orlik, was the name of the commander, he destroyed several Panzer IIIs and IVs, which are German for tank 3s and 4s, and also the Czech tanks that were there, the LT-35s and LT-38s. And I gotta say, they were pretty impressive. They were also used as a German training tank after that. So you can imagine, this was a thorn in their sides. Especially, I can give an example. Here's an example of a 1/72nd scale figure. So, you look at the comparison, this thing is short. Hence, they call it tankette. So, there you see. And then next, this is probably one of the most famous Polish tanks out there. For those who don't know it, who are not tank buffs like I am, this is the 7TP, or the 7-ton Polish tank. This thing was derived off of the Vickers Armstrong 7-ton tank, or also just known as the Vickers 7-ton. Or actually, the Vickers 6-ton, excuse me. And this thing was incredible. This thing was armed with a 37mm gun right here that was derived off of... Oh, sorry, turret dislodged there. That was derived off of the Swedish Bofors 37mm gun. This thing, when it came into contact with its enemy, which was mainly the Panzer II, which was the second type of German tank, which was armed with a 20mm autocannon, here's the basic statistics. In battle, the Panzer II had to get within 200 meters. That's 2,000... That's 200 meters, you can imagine, to kill this tank. Because it was only armed with a 20mm cannon. This thing could knock out a Panzer II from 1,500 meters. So you can imagine that's pretty one-sided. But these things were really good. And they were used en masse, especially during the defense of Warsaw during that time, which was in 1939. However, that didn't really change much of the battle, though, because also the Russians invaded again from the east. But anyway, the Germans that captured these things used them as training tanks and police tanks. In fact, we even encountered some of these during the battle for France after Normandy. And let me give you an example. So this is the tank that we would have used from my collection. This is the M4A3 Sherman. I'm sorry, the turret is kind of weighted differently. Now you picture this. Us using this, which has a 76.2mm gun, versus this tiny little thing. Yeah, very one-sided, you could say. But, moving on, for those who know World of Tanks, like I do, recognize that bad boy a bit? I hope you do. This, now of course, those who play World of Tanks are probably going to be guessing at first, oh wait a second, Tank Commander, this is a T-3485 Tier 6 Russian medium tank. Yes, but this is actually the Tier 7 Premium. This right here is Polish tank number 102, T-3485 Rudy. This comes from the Polish tank show, 4 Tankmen and a Dog. And that did exist during the 1960s and 50s. But pretty incredible, huh? I do all these models by myself. And I couldn't help but do this because, well, I have it on the game, so if you ever want to get a chance to, feel free to come on. But this is what I do. To wrap this video up, I'm going to show you guys the most important thing that I got in honor of this day. Pretty awesome, huh? This is a 5-foot by 3-foot Polish flag. And I happened to get this off of Military Issue for just $15. And of course I got the pole with it. And I couldn't help it because, well, I'm Polish. I'm 91% Eastern European. And majority of that is Polish. So, you can imagine. Works just perfectly for me. And of course it has the Polish falcon on it. And when you wrap this thing up, you gotta be very careful because it's very fragile, this flag. You'll probably note I take a lot of pride in this stuff, so don't be surprised if you see this video. But anyway, if you ever get a chance to look this war up on Wikipedia or anything, please do. Because you'll be surprised at all the stuff that you're going to find about Polish history that you've never really seen before. And, again, on World of Tanks, if you ever want to find me, my username is PattonFan42. That's PATTONFAN42. All lowercase, no caps, no subscripts or anything. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll be with you for the next vlog whenever I can. So, peace out, and keep on rolling. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Happy Day of the Polish Army. Zapolskie!